Okay, so today we'll be talking about anxiety and stress management. So I do have to give you a disclaimer before we get started. So this is a psychoeducational webinar. It's hosted by Kayla Hunter and myself, Monica. We are MSW field students, and we're both supervised by Mark Ream. He's the LPC and the director of the ASU Counseling Services. This webinar is not intended to be used as a psychotherapeutic treatment. It is intended only to be informational and educational. If you do experience any emotional discomfort, please contact our counseling services at 325-942-2371 so you can inquire about scheduling a counseling session. If you need immediate assistance, you can always call our crisis helpline at 325-486-6345. So a little bit about ourselves. My name is Monica, and we have Kayla on also. So we're both social work graduate students. What we do here at the ASU Counseling Center is we conduct intake assessments, and then we also provide case management to our students. We do plan on seeking our license and being licensed social workers, master social workers after we graduate. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to go ahead and talk about the differences in anxiety versus stress. So anxiety is a response to internal experiences, and it's often related to events occurring in the future. So it can include things such as worry, apprehension, fear. It can sometimes escalate into a diagnosable mental health disorder. Anxiety can also involve panic attacks, phobias, and it can interfere with daily functioning. And it causes clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other areas of functioning. So stress can also be a response to an external factor like work, school, family life, relationships. It can trigger anxiety, and it tends to be more manageable in day-to-day life, and it usually precedes anxiety. So those are the differences between anxiety and stress. They're two different things. So some of the common symptoms, the physical common symptoms could be headaches, muscle aches, gastro problems, insomnia, sweaty hands, increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, low energy, exaggerated startled response, and restlessness. Some of the emotional symptoms could include feelings of overwhelming or being overwhelmed, apprehension, worry, irritability, difficulty concentrating, and racing thoughts. So one of the things that we talk about here in the counseling center when we have students come see us, or one of the things that helps in general is relaxation techniques. So there's different types of relaxation techniques that you can apply when you're feeling stressed or anxious. Some of those are breathing techniques, which some of those examples is like box breathing or elevator breathing. You can do meditation, you can do yoga, progressive muscle relaxation, and imagery. So a couple of the big ones, well, breathing techniques are always helpful, but I know that a lot of people also say that meditation and yoga helps them a lot. So these are just some of the techniques that you can do to relax, to physically relax. One of the things we wanted to go over was how to cope with stress and anxiety, some of the coping strategies. So the relaxation techniques are different, and they're more of a physical, something you can do physically. With coping strategies, some of them are physical, but then also it's other things also like getting enough sleep, things like that that can help you cope with the feelings of anxiety and stress. When you're actually feeling stressed or anxious, these are some of the things you can do to help you. Taking a time out, which there's a lot of things you can do when you take a time out. You can do yoga, listen to music, relaxation techniques, step away from whatever may be causing you the stress and anxiety at the moment. Art, there's a lot of things you can do. The important thing here is recognizing what symptoms, or recognizing when you're starting to feel stressed and anxious. So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to recognize it, and then you want to be able to apply one of these coping strategies to kind of deal with it, and see if it helps relieve some of that stress and anxiety that you're feeling. Other things that can also affect it is eating a well-balanced meal. Make sure you don't skip any meals. Make sure that you're eating healthy meals and snacks. So some people don't think that that's a big deal, but it actually can be a big factor um, in helping with stress and anxiety, is getting a good balanced diet. Of course, you want to limit your alcohol and caffeine, which these can actually aggravate anxiety. Not only can it aggravate anxiety, but alcohol can also put you in a depressed state, or it can affect you mentally, obviously. If given or drinking too much alcohol. So you definitely want to limit those. You want to get enough sleep. Your body might just need some additional sleep and rest when it's stressed or anxious. This is one of the big ones, is getting enough sleep. It kind of ties in with other webinars that we've had, such as like the time management and just some of the other general ones that we've had. Sleep is very important. So you don't want to stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning cramming for a test that you have. Not only are you going to be super anxious because you're super anxious about the test, but the fact that you didn't get no sleep is definitely not going to help you either. So that kind of ties in with some of that time management, um, setting aside specific times for like studying, getting homework assignments done. That can also take away the stress that you're feeling from an upcoming test or an upcoming major assignment. So just getting enough sleep and managing your time wisely and setting aside enough time for those like tests or studying can help you a lot. You also want to exercise daily or as much as possible. Exercise can help you feel better, and it can also help maintain your health. Taking deep breaths, which inhaling and exhaling slowly, counting to 10 slowly, and then trying to maintain a positive attitude, making an effort to replace negative thoughts with positive ones. So sometimes this isn't going to just come as easily as it seems. Like you're going to have to make an effort to stop those negative thoughts, or make an effort to replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. If you're feeling or if you're thinking of a bunch of negative things, try to point out some of the positives that you have going on, or positive things in general, and try to replace that negativity with some positivity. Earlier, I discussed how identifying stress and anxiety, or being aware of when you're stressed and anxious, is super important, obviously, because you'd have to identify it and know that that's what's going on, so that you can um, do some of the coping techniques to be able to deal with it. So identifying stress and anxiety and some of its triggers. Some of the triggers, and this is just some of them. I mean, there's a lot more things that can be going on that can cause you stress and anxiety. Some of them, the more general ones, are work, family, school, certain individuals, certain situations. So all those things can lead to a lot of stress and anxiety. Having, bad time management, maybe if you have personal issues going on, there's a lot of stuff that can trigger stress and anxiety. And it's important to be aware of what's causing you your stress and anxiety, of course, because you want to try to get away from that if it's something that you can help. If one of the things that causes you a lot of stress and anxiety is because you don't know how to say no to people, or you happen to take on too many tasks at once. You want to identify that, and you want to recognize that as one of the things that brings you a lot of extra stress and anxiety, and you want to kind of try to stay away from that. So identify what may be causing you stress and anxiety, and try to have a prepared response. So like I said, time management for homework and deadlines. If you know that test taking is not your thing and it causes you great levels of stress or great levels of anxiety, then you want to set certain time frames, several days in advance, to be able to study for that test, to kind of help from just trying to do it all the night before and just causing yourself more stress. Also, there are certain individuals and situations that induce stress or anxiety. Try your best to avoid prolonged time lapses around the individual or the situation. So a lot of times with work, or maybe at home, or maybe just with classmates in your classes, or just anywhere in a social setting, there could be the possibility that being around certain people can cause you stress or anxiety. Of course, you want to try your best, if possible, to avoid being around that person for a long time. So let's say that you're trying these coping, mechanisms, these coping techniques. You've tried relaxation, you've tried exercising, eating right, you've tried art, you've tried everything that you could possibly do, time management, and you're still feeling stressed and you're still feeling anxious, then it could be time that you talk to somebody. So speak up and let somebody know that you're feeling overwhelmed. If you could talk to a friend or family member, do so. If you can't talk to a friend or family member, then please seek professional help. You do not have to try to fight stress and anxiety on your own. There is always help available. So if nothing else is helping, definitely use our services here, the counseling services. Come in and see about getting connected with one of our counselors. We also have our crisis helpline that you can call, which is available 24 hours. It might be that you just need somebody else to talk to, somebody else that can listen, somebody else that can help you with some more coping strategies if the ones that you're choosing aren't helping you. So please do not feel that you have to take on stress and anxiety on your own. Don't feel that you have to, if nothing's working, then you just kind of lose hope and it's something that you're going to have to deal with or live with. That's definitely why we're here. Come in, get some help on learning to deal with that, with stress and anxiety. There's also other things that you can do, like maybe contacting your physician's office. We have West Texas Guidance and Counseling. We have the ASU Clinic. So I think the takeaway here is that recognizing and realizing that you don't have to go through stress and anxiety by yourself. There are people available that you can talk to. So I kind of wanted to engage in conversation with you guys. What are some techniques that some of you use when dealing with stress or anxiety? If anybody would like to share. Anybody? Like different ways?
I know one thing that I've started, and I used to do it whenever I was younger, and I've just recently started, just with everything going on, is journaling, kind of writing those things down, kind of just getting them out of my head. So it's kind of helped.
Definitely kind of putting all those thoughts on paper kind of helps declutter your brain a little bit with things that are going on. I personally like to just take like really long walks with my dog, just outside, just trying to get away from everything. That always seems to help me. Bailey says, I've started doing at least 10 minutes of yoga each day. Yes, yoga is awesome.
Yes, I like yoga. So I recently started it also, and I really have felt that I am less stressed and anxious for the most part. Another thing I wanted to say about the journaling is I think that's a really good idea, especially if you do plan on going in to talk with maybe a counselor, just knowing, documenting how you're feeling at the time you're feeling it, or knowing what it is that you're feeling or what's causing that stress can really help you and your counselor come up with a really good treatment plan or goal, if you're seeing a counselor. And even if you're not going to see a counselor, when you go back and read that, you can kind of touch on, okay, well, it seems that these are the times that I'm stressed, or it seems like this and this is what's adding to my anxiety, or this and this is what could be adding to my stress. And it kind of helps give you a preview of everything. And from there, you can make changes to kind of adjust to the things that are causing you that stress and anxiety, and maybe trying to get away from those things, or maybe trying to incorporate new things to kind of help deal with that stress and anxiety. So those are really good ones.
Another kind of resource that I wanted to talk about was our REMS Relaxation Room here at the Counseling Center. So if you're ever feeling really overwhelmed or stressed, you kind of just need a place to decompress. We do have just a nice couch that you can recline in. We have a very nice massage chair. It's a very nice massage chair. We also have just kind of like art supplies, if coloring. I know sometimes even just coloring is very relaxing sometimes. And we have yoga mats. So again, kind of doing that yoga. And you can come, let's see, at any time, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we do have a limit of 4 people, but usually it's not really ever that packed. So more than likely you'll probably get in if you come. But that is a resource that we have here on campus at the Counseling Center for you at any time.
So Kayla, I wanted to, Marissa says, I find myself very stressed about consequences of my poor time management. Then I'm able to justify doing something for myself to de-stress. That takes up time I should probably be doing studying. Any suggestions? So I struggle with this on my own. So yeah, on our time management, guys, I don't know, Marissa, if you were able to join in with our time management webinar, but one of the things we touched on time management is making yourself a schedule, or setting aside a specific time of specific days for specific assignments, homework, studying, or whatever you have to do. So we discussed getting a planner, or and getting on a set schedule for the most part, as far as like class, if that's what you're having trouble with on your time management. Getting yourself a little more organized. Also, I have learned that just having a planner, it may sound simple, but just that planner alone has really helped me a lot, because I go according to my planner for the most part, as far as when I'm going to study for what class, what day I'm going to do what assignment. And it kind of helps to keep me from like mentally being all over the place. I have something to look at, and I know, from 12 to 1, I am going to read the book for, biology or whatever. On this day, from whatever time to whatever time, I am going to study for my test. And not only do you have to apply time management for school resources, you can also apply it for life in general. So I always make sure that I set aside some time for self-care. Self-care is super important. And I know, Marissa, you're saying that you find it hard to doing something for yourself or to de-stress, because it's time that you should probably be studying. So I think that if you can just get yourself a planner, or maybe set a schedule, then you'll be able to incorporate times that you can use, to de-stress without feeling guilty, or feeling like, oh my gosh, I should be studying instead right now. Setting a schedule. And you can, in that schedule, you can say, I have free time on Saturday from whatever time to whatever time. What I'm going to do is I am going to go for a walk, or I'm just going to sit by myself and, meditate, or you don't even have to meditate. You can just say, for self-care, I'm just going to sit by myself for a little bit and just relax and not think about anything. That can be fine too. But setting yourself a schedule allows you to put in time for those um, de-stressing, moments that you need to de-stress. That way you're not, well, I should be studying. Well, you do have time set aside for studying also. You're going according to what you have scheduled. Now I know that sometimes life happens, and sometimes your schedule might be messed up by something, but if for the most part, trying to follow a schedule can help immensely in reducing some of that stress and anxiety, especially when you're setting specific times that you're going to do practice self-care, or that you're going to just take some time away from getting away from like the books, or getting away from distractions, and just spending some time to yourself. That can really help a lot. I hope that kind of helps, Marissa, give you some ideas.
Um, I would almost kind of challenge you to work backwards. I feel like if you're kind of very stressed out in life, you can't do very good time management because you're not mentally and physically taking care of yourself. There is always a justification for taking care of your mental health and your physical self. Don't ever feel like because you're behind on schoolwork that you don't deserve that time to go on a walk or that time to journal. You absolutely should put yourself first. School is always important, but you cannot effectively time manage school and effectively um, do your absolute 100% best if you're not de-stressing yourself. And you most likely probably work harder and better if you are de-stressed. So I would encourage you to kind of focus on that first, and maybe kind of use time management as a form of de-stressing. Use that time to kind of map things out in front of you, and then also kind of the the poor time management, like kind of pinpointing how much time you're spending on social media or how much time you're spending on watching your favorite TV show, and saying kind of, are these my priorities, or should I be putting this as my priority? And yeah, I know it's really, really hard to choose reading a book over something you enjoy, like being on your phone or watching TV. But that can kind of help if you kind of work backwards. And I just really encourage you to never feel like you are not allowed to de-stress, because that is absolutely important. But and I will also put um yes, planning out, like having, even if you go day by day, don't even stress yourself out with worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow. Kind of take it day by day and say, what do I need to do specifically today to get through today? Take it one step at a time. If you do feel comfortable taking it further than just today or tomorrow, that's totally fine. But sometimes it helps just to kind of take it day by day. But I will be posting that link for you guys. If you can definitely stay and chat and talk a little bit more. But here's the link for the form for you to do the survey, and you will be entered to win the JBL speaker. But let us know if you have any more questions or any more feedback.
Any questions? Kayla brings up a really good point, because I know that time management for some of us, trying to see a week in advance is stressful in itself. So, like Kayla said, taking it day by day is also, if that's what works best for you, then do that. If I know I'm one of those that if I try to look too long into the future, or 2 weeks in advance, or I do overwhelm myself sometimes. So definitely, if you're more of a, I can only plan for today or tomorrow or just today, that'll work also. So keeping all of that in mind. And like Kayla said, making yourself a priority is definitely important.
Yes, ma'am. Also, while you're here, we are having our next webinar on April 21st, and it's going to be over healthy relationships. So relationships with just your friends and your family, but also kind of relationships with that significant other or partner.
Any questions? Well, we want to thank y'all for joining us. If you want to take time and do that survey, like I said, you'll be put into a drawing for a speaker at the end of the semester. So feel free to fill that out. If not, hopefully y'all can join us at the next webinar, which, like Kayla said, April 21st, over healthy relationships.
Yep. All right. Well, I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your day.